Right, so on today's brilliance. If you haven't noticed already, we decided just to list this as it stands. It went on eBay last night, so I looked at loading in a lorry, taking it for an MOT, faffing around with it, taking the number plate off of it, and then I went through the service history. The number plate's been on it from new, it was issued with it with new, so it's going with Wisdav. And we're going to sell it exactly as it stands. It runs, it drives, it's on the button. It needs minor recommissioning. We've taken the rear wheels off, freed the brakes off. The front brake is a wee bit sticky, but I think it'll come around. I put a new battery on it, so it starts on the button. Everything works, all the paperwork is here. It's listed on eBay. There is no buy it now. I'm not telling you what the reserve is, because I put that on the description. So the first 5 emails I had were, how much is it, is there a buy it now, and what's your reserve? So politely ignored all you lot, because if you read the description it says there is no buy it now and you'll have to work out what the reserve is, because it's an auction. It's set quite reasonable. So if you want an 888 mile plastic pig that hasn't been on the road since 2012, Dave had a stroke, MOT ran out in 2013. I expect someone is probably just going to put it away and not use it, so there didn't seem much point putting an MOT on it. So, I mean, it'll pass one, let's be honest, it's pretty much new. So it's on, bid, if you want it. And for my next brilliance for the day, obviously the KANGOO is due, draws Saturday. It is now Tuesday, I think. Still completely out, I don't know what day it is. So, I want to fix all the annoyances on the KANGOO that I haven't quite got round to. So there's a list. Wants a cambelt? Do that. Got a brand new starter motor? Gonna do that. The nice new exhaust that we fitted, every time you go over a leany bump, bashes against the lump of the chassis. Gonna fix that. The radio doesn't work, so I fixed that. And I think that's about it. Oh, and I've got a rail pressure sensor that the top fell off of, zip tied together with a zip tie, because we're mechanics, that kept it going. Can't let you have it like that, so I've got a new rail pressure sensor to go on it as well. So, let's go full chat, cambelt, service, grease up, double check, sortie, clean, KANGOO. And then, if you want this, you'll have to go and find it. We didn't put it on as a competition prize, it's not mine, and to be honest, I don't think it's the sort of thing most people want. Not them saying that someone won't. I mean, if you want a basically brand new 2000 Robin Brianna, my brain's not with it this morning. Reliant Robin Royale Special Edition in cosmic blue, that's done no miles and is like a new pin. There it is. Remember, if you're coming to pick it out of a lorry, you need 3 ramps, because you won't get it on with 2. Right, so if you know anything about Renault KANGOOs, so all of the standard production models that weren't basically 4-wheel drives or trackers came with either a 1.9 straight diesel or a 1.5 DCI of doom. They weren't very good, the 1.5 DCIs. I've never had any joy. Admittedly, some people might have done. But the 4-wheel drives, because they was a bit more powerful, and the trackers, which are the other 4-wheel drives people carrier things, were fitted with a 1.9 DCI turbo diesel. Fast-ish. So, cambelt, as this is transfer, so you have engine, gearbox, transfer case, shaft going to the back. Cambelt is in here. So basically, I need to take this mount off the top, this pipe work out of the way here. I'm going to lose this a minute, and then we are on to, I think we're going to jack it up, take the wheels off. That gives us a chance, check the brakes over, make sure they're good. It's always had really long anti-roll bar links on it, so I need to sort them out, because I think the person before me puts the wrong ones on. And then I want to check the drive shaft bearing this side, because it has a bearing noise that if you leave it parked up for 2 weeks, you get, and then if you drive it every day you don't. So I'm assuming that because the 2 prop shaft centre bearings are new, so I reckon it's the drive shaft bearing this side gone dry and making the noise, so we need to attend to that. And then we need to make sure that it is beautiful, clean, serviced. So the air filter is in here. It did have one of those about a year ago, 8 months ago. I think 6 months ago this went on the road, didn't it? Then we need to change on the oils, check for leaks, and change my zip-tied rail pressure sensor over, so that, I mean, the zip tie works perfectly because the top came loose and then it wouldn't start. Zip, sorted. Not really good enough. Let someone else have it like that. So here goes nothing. Right, so you will, well, you won't be able to see because you're over there, over here. But basically we've removed quite a lot of chunks. That's the big engine mount. Cam belt cover after that. So we're into the belt. So basically we've got a high pressure fuel pump here, camshaft here with a marker on it, idler, and then a belt. The water pump on a KANGOO is driven separately. He's on the auxiliary belt for the alternator and power steering. So, I think, is it power steering? Yeah, I think power steering. My power steering might be electric, but anyway. Yeah, no, there's power steering down there. So basically, there is no water pump to fail. If you're doing a cam belt kit, don't take the tight option and not replace the water pump, because what we normally see with failed cam belts is that people have had the belt done and left the water pump. So if the water pump is cam belt driven, change it, because not all kits come with it. I thought this morning I might have to reorder this because I was like, no water pump. I'll go and check. This one is driven off of a different belt, so if the water pump on this seized up, it'll just take the auxiliary belt off, but if it was cam belt driven, it'll take the cam belt out, ruin the engine, dead, done, dusted. So basically these new belts, I'll show you the autodata thing in a minute. So what we know is white marked. So there are 1, 2, 3 white marks on this belt, which correspond with the markings on the pulley. So it has a direction of rotation, which is that way. It runs clockwise, and then basically you have to line all these white marks up. Some of the other Renault engines, the bottom crank pulley is clamp fit, so he spins as soon as you loosen him. Not on the 1.9, or not on this 1.9 DCI. He has got a Woodruff key, and he is solid. So the engine locking pin, you remove a bung side of the engine down there, and then basically you've got a pin goes in and locks the crank. Now admittedly, none of the previous people's white marks that they've chucked all over the place, because they didn't do this last time. I mean, this belt isn't that old. They just white dotted it, took the old one off, put a new one on. I'm not doing that. We'll make sure it's 125% right. I have a feeling the possibility it's at least a tooth out. I mean, it hasn't hurt it, it ran fine, but it will run better timed correctly than it will bodged by the previous idiots. So I've got to slacken the adjuster off down here for the cam belt tensioner. I've loosened the main clamp nut, and then we're going to pull this old belt off. And the only one I can't find at the moment is to see if there's a mark actually on this high pressure fuel pump, because most high pressure fuel pumps, it's a half and a half to whether they're timed, because in theory this isn't an injection pump, it's just a big spinning pump throwing fuel at a fuel rail here. All of the actual injection timing is done by a computer and some electronically controlled injectors. So, right, next thing to do, make coffee and then take belt off. Speak to the insurance company again, because it's insurance time of year. I don't know whether any of you are suffering this, but in standard rip-off Britain way, insurance, my lord, yes. I mean, I feel quite sorry for my insurance broker. He's trying terribly, terribly hard. But they are having us for everything we're worth again this year. The point that literally you're just like, how many thousands? I mean, I only want to run a small business, not buy the Queen a new house, or the King a new house, or someone a new house, or it's thousands. Right, coffee. Right. Sorry, after 15 customer interruptions, climbing over the gate, even though we're closed. Marvellous. Belt is on. So you can see the white mark. there's a pin dot here to the belt. There is no mark on the fuel pump, checked auto data, so the fuel pump lands wherever it lands. New tensioner in, there's an idler at the bottom and an idler in the middle here, which I've scooched over. And then basically on the crank, there is a line and another white mark. So what we need to do now is turn this over to check it clears and then put it all back together again. And you'll see down there, that is the water pump. So you don't need to change the water pump as part of the cam belt kit because it ain't got one. Right, so basically we have quickly scooched the camshaft timing pin, or crankshaft timing pin back out the front of the engine. I've got to go and put the oil blank cap in there, and I have, with the timing pin obviously, whipped in, done this pulley, this front crank pulley up, so that runs the main belt. So what we need to do now is, now this is all bolted back up, is do some revolutions and check that we don't lock up. So it feels fine, we've got compression. Yeah, that's right. So we'll do a couple of revolutions just to make sure, string this belt back on, and then basically we've got to put back together. Yep. Yep. So the valves clear the pistons and the timing is right. If you just turn on the key, and if you've got it wrong, you'll just smash everything to pieces. So always wind an engine over with a bar once you've done the belt, because to be honest, we all chuff up. I did it once, my 306 GTI 6, and I nearly destroyed the thing because basically it had a pointer on the lower crank damper which you lined up, and when we took it apart, you were like, that's strange, it doesn't like. So we put it to where it lined up on this outer damper, and the damper and the inner had moved, so that the mark was nowhere near where it needed to be, and we nearly had a catastrophe. Luckily enough, bought a new pulley, realised, wound it over, and it locked up, and if you'd have hit the key, you'd have smashed all the valves out of it. So what we're going to do now is hop back up here, we're going back on the time lapses, and then we're going to put all the cam belt covers, the engine mounts, the bits and bobs, the bolts back in, fire her up, warm her up, and then we need to change the oil and the filters. Right, so next couple of things to do. Oil filter. I have managed to get the slightly mummed sump nut out because it appears someone didn't have the square drive last time, not me. Obviously it runs and we have warmed it up. So we'll drop this out of here, let it drain for half an hour, check the gearbox level while we're at it. Ooh. Yay, there we go. Handful of goo as well, or was what you wanted. T. Right, filter. Do you think it's accessible from down here? Is it accessible from down here? Yeah, it's not. Let's go up the top and do it. Let's move that forwards a bit so we don't drop all the guck out the oil filter straight on the floor. Let's have a little bit of... Always remember to lubricate the rubber ring on your new filter. A little bit of second-hand oil won't hurt it. Go and dangle ourselves in here. Where did you put that, Renault? It's going to be down the front here somewhere, isn't it? Oh, it's not too bad a spot. Right, back over here with the oil tray. Falling off. T. One out. One in. Right, lovely. So anyone who owns one of these Renaults has the most stupid dipstick. It's on here, which makes it near on impossible because you have to pour oil in that hole and then attempt to figure out quite how much oil you have put in it using the dipstick, which is full of a hole full of oil. So I'm going to go and check the auto data, see what she takes, put that in, and then see if we can ascertain whether we're about the right level. So we might be listing back downhill a bit, but what we need to remember to do first is go back underneath, put a bung in. And it's snowing quite heavily. That'll be fun for the old Hilux this evening. He's used to a bit of snow. It's really exciting. I could put my studded tyres on. Don't murder it up, obviously, because the next person will never get it undone. New copper cement ring shoved on it already, and I'm going to go pour that in the waste oil tray. Ooh. And then we'll go and work out how much oil we need. So auto data says empty with filter 4.6 litres. So 4.6 litres it will be. This is 2 litres, so we need 2 and a bit of these. And we'll let it settle out, check it later once all this, because obviously you're pouring this oil down the same hole as you need to stick a dipstick in. Reading it's a nightmare. So last thing to do up here is the fuel filter in a minute, and then it's on to sorting the Nokia exhaust out, checking this drive shaft bearing, and the joyous joy of putting a new starter motor on it. Because it had a duff starter motor when we first bought it, because it was sold to me as having a snapped cam belt. Turned out not to be a snapped cam belt. Turned out to be a blocked up fuel pump and a knackered starter motor where they've been cranking it to death. I'm going to go and get some more oil. Yeah, so as at the time, the brand new Chinesium starter motor that was fitted to it has exploded if you go back and look at the videos. I had a Renault Megane 19 DCI starter, which is what's on here now, but it's always played up. So we've got a brand new shiny one to go on. But it is an utter arse of a thing to get at. The bolts go through out over the side over there. The starter motor is jammed in behind a turbocharger, and it will involve lots of swearing and nastiness to get it off. Things I go through to make sure things are right, people. Right, try and guess 0.6 of a litre. Bum, bum, bum. Right, I'm confident that will get us pretty much to where we need. And we'll go and attack the fuel filter, which is over there, tucked beside the battery, underneath that boost pipe I've just put back on, which I'll probably have to take off again, but that's part of life. Ta-da! And then if you put this in here, I'll demonstrate. So I've retrieved my rag. You won't get any sensible oil readings out of it for ages, because everything is covered in oil. Yep. Standard Renault. Not the world's greatest of ideas. I think Peugeot started it, to be honest. Right, so the fuel filter is buried. Let me just hook those off because I was fixing me flashy lights, which I've successfully done. It's just here. Now I moved this boost pipe earlier, and I thought, I wonder if I should put it back on, but we'll have it out the way a second. Like so. And there is my fuel filter housing. How do we go over there out of my way? Thank you. And does that come off there? No, good. Right. Oh, we better taking everything off of it. Pulling this out and then worrying about it afterwards. Probably. If I could be bothered, I'd go and get me posh pair of pliers for undoing these things. One. Let's go and get me posh pair of pliers. Oh, and then we're even closer than expected. Work. Yeah. 2. Ooh. Luckily enough, they have colour coded them as well. Makes it easier for people like me, you know, colours and numbers and all that. It's easier. That one's going to be a pain, isn't it? 1, 2, and the final one. Oh, look at that. Right, let's have that out of there. Make it easier to change. And we'll go and dismantle on this. See how you change the filter element. Quite sure how the hell you change the filter element on that. One way to find out. Right, big nasty plastic fuel filter unit thing changed. There were 2 in the box. The one I had in my hand was not the one I needed, it was the other one. Bit of self-bleedage because this thing does have an electric pump. We'll see. We are away. Are we going to die? No. Marvellous. So, new cam belt, new oil, new filter, new air filter, new fuel filter. So I've got to change this rail pressure sensor in a minute, so we don't have one with a zip tie on it. Sort these anti-roll bar links out. I'll fix me flashy lights, so they flash here again. Wiring connection, marvellous. Then I need to fit some radio speakers, give it a hoover, and find that annoying bearing noise, which is down there, and I know what it is, and I've got it. That'll keep me amused in the snow for the rest of the day, won't it? Right, so prop shafts, grease head all the way through, bearings, grease head all the way through. Quick check on the back diff oil level, which was fine 4 or 5 months ago, but we'll just doubly check on that. Then we're going to doubly check on the gearbox oil level and then fix this from doing this, which is really annoying. Needs to be that much that way. Doesn't rattle when you're driving along, it just when you go sideways over a bump goes clonk and it's the side of the truck. We need to get to that, and then radio. Change the thingies on the front. We are done. So I had forgotten a job, hadn't I? It's almost unreachable. It has one bolt set right down in that you can't even get a socket on. You have to do it with a spanner on its side. It's a nightmare. Then there's 2 above that, and then if you lean in over the axle, over the other side, over the top of everything, you can just about at full reach touch the connections on it, and the wires are only long enough just to come off of it, get it off. So I'm going to lie under here for 25 minutes, removing 40 minutes. You never know, I might get lucky removing the thing. I'm getting quite good at it now. Ta-da! There's the old one. So we're going to bin this one, and then I'm going to go lie back underneath here and try and put this thing back in the hole, and then try and put the bolts back in from this side on it. Because what the trouble is, you can get it in its hole, but then the bolts go through, but you can't get the other side to hold it up to put the. It's horrible. Be fine. That's what bits of wood are for, isn't it? So, 2.5 hours later, I have fitted a starter motor. What a miserable piece of design that is. I'm going to try it and then I'm going home because I've had enough. Better bloody work. Right, that will do me. It's freezing cold. Jeez, that is just an impossible thing to get in and out. I had to stop the time lapse due to the swearing and throwing of things. Anyway, happy Wednesdays. Thank you very much, Al 6D Diesels. We'll see you Sunday. Don't forget, or Saturday night actually, draw live. Don't forget to buy a ticket. I know it doesn't look the best at the moment because we've got the wheels off. We're finishing that tomorrow, so buy a ticket for a KANGOO. Link is in the description. Raffle. It is drawn Saturday evening. We will be on a live, on here, me and the missus, Saturday evening.